I will prove to everyone in 10 seconds that Islam is false. Chapter 9, verse 30, the Quran says that the Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah, and Christians say Messiah is the son of Allah. This is clearly not true. Jews don't say Ezra is the son of Allah. There you go.
That's it.
Islam is false.
That's it.
Redvan, yeah, A-Puss, you should know that for the first 1,000 years after Moses, we have absolutely no record of what the Jewish people taught or believed. For those who don't know, the oldest manuscripts of Jewish scripture are the Dead Sea Scrolls, which date at least 1,000 years after Moses. So to claim this is some kind of unrefutable proof against Islam is just an argument from silence.
He accepts you, one of us, gooba gobble.
I will prove to everyone.
Yeah, okay. So is it to dissect a little bit or to understand the argument? It is to say, I think the argument is that the statement, meaning the claim, is that the statement is false, hence this cannot be from God because God cannot say false statement, right? Incorrect statement. So I think that's how the argument comes, meaning that that's the angle. And the response here is saying that how can you say it's false? Because we do not have any indication. Maybe you can say that we do not have any indication that the Jews at that time says Ezra, son of God, for example, right? But missing information or not knowing what exactly they say in that time is not the same as knowing exactly that there's no such thing, right? So I guess that's the refutation. Yeah. The interesting thing about how to say, I think the earliest manuscript is the Dead Sea Scroll, right? And but that is, if that is found 1,000 years after the fact, then how do we? Now this is the interesting part, because in Islam some would argue that it's not fair to compare because Islam is nearer in terms of the timeline, right? Hence we do not have the gap, right? So because for example, even the hadith, those who compile and make it into a book like Bukhari, Muslim, etc., right? So from there until now, there's no like missing and then suddenly we found the book of Bukhari. It is actually the book from when they wrote it down and then become a book. Until now there's no gap, right? That's one thing. And then from them compiling, there's the chain of narration, right? Meaning that there's no gap as well in that sense. Or if there's any gap, like this, listen to this, and what was this gap? The hadith would not be sahih anymore, right? For example, it become a lesser degree in terms of authenticity, confidence. So given that, and then of course the Quran is more in terms of the confidence of authenticity compared to the hadith, right? Now, so given that scenario, as a Muslim, we have not faced the same issue with, finding a book that was uncovered after such a long period of time before the author at that time wrote it, right? So how do you deal with this one? Because you do not get it directly when the author is living and verify this is exactly what I wrote, right? So you have to trust that whatever is written, for example, right? Now I'm not saying that there's no methodology to cross-check, etc., etc., but that is the whole discussion that needs to happen, that do not really exist in Islamic literature because we do not face that gap. Yeah, so that is one of the factors behind, to say assertively that this is the case when there's that gap. There's a challenge in that. Anyway, feel free to comment. Thank you for watching. See you next time.